Most people think the biggest mistake when buying in Charlotte is picking the wrong neighborhood or just flat out overpaying. But the real mistake usually happens way before that, with one assumption buyers make that can cost them tens of thousands of dollars without them even realizing it. I've been in the real estate market for over 11 years, and today I'm breaking down the number one mistake people make when buying here, plus several others that quietly drain your wallet. The number one mistake: assuming every Charlotte market moves the same way. All right, so here's what catches buyers off guard. They see headlines about the Charlotte market and assume every neighborhood moves the same way. That's like assuming every lane on I-77 moves at the same speed during rush hour. Charlotte is a two-speed market currently. Luxury homes and renovated homes move differently than the mid-tier homes or original condition ones. Totally different rules, different timelines, different buyer behaviors. So let me show you what that looks like. According to the latest data, homes in Myers Park sold for the median price in the low to mid 1.3 million range. But here's the part most people miss. Those homes are still sold in just 52 days. That tells you the demand is still strong even with price adjustments. And limited supply helps keep things steadier in the luxury corridors like Myers Park, Eastover, and Dilworth. Now compare that to the mid-tier market. Homes in the mid 400,000 price to 600,000 price points, completely different behaviors. Despite having a lot more homes in that range, days on market rose 58 days. That's up 55 days from November 2024. That's a clear sign the mid-tier market is slowing down. And the slower pace matters a lot because later I'm going to show you how it connects to Charlotte's actual buying season, and most buyers get the timing completely wrong. So stick around. Now, even inside these same price ranges, there's still a split. Properties in the 600 to 700,000 price points saw sales rise nearly 20% year over year. Move-up buyers in the 600,000 price range are active, but level buyers below the $400,000 price point are dealing with limited inventory affordability constraints. So why does that matter? Because buyers who don't realize or recognize this two-speed market start making a chain of bad decisions. They rush into offers in the competitive segments without enough inspections or negotiations. Or they miss the leverage in the slower segments completely and end up paying above market value in areas where buyer power actually exists. They make broad assumptions based on headlines instead of understanding what is actually going on in that neighborhood, like South End, Plaza Midwood, and Dilworth move differently than University City, Steel Creek, zip codes like 28215. If you don't recognize the market split, everything that follows gets harder. And that leads straight into the next mistake, which is how buyers misread what they're actually competing for. Mistake number two: misreading price tiers and value gaps. Picture two homes. Both have 3 bedrooms, both have updated kitchens. One's in the mid 400,000 price point, the other is in the low $700,000 range. And the difference between them is only about a 7-minute drive time frame. Price bands in the Charlotte can be extreme. You can go from the mid 300,000 price point neighborhoods to the high $700,000 price points just in a few minutes. And that closeness tricks buyers into thinking those homes should move the same way. But they don't. The market dynamics change, the buyers change, and what drives value changes also. Let me break down the actual tiers. At the luxury tier, you're looking at about $1.3 million and up. That's Myers Park territory. Then you've got the move up and upper middle tier. That usually runs from the low 500s to the $700,000 price point. The segment saw strong growth, and this is where you'll see a lot of inventory growth stacking up. Then there's the mid-tier. That spans between the $300,000 price point to $500,000 range. In the main inventory concentration areas, condos and townhomes in the low to mid $400,000 price point saw inventory explode and buyer leverage showing up here. And then you got into the lower tier, sits in the low 300s and below. Supply is limited. Activity is declining though because of the affordability is a real issue. Keep that price range in mind because when we get to inventory numbers in just a few minutes, you're going to see exactly where your negotiating power actually sits. Stay with me. Now, what happens in buyers constantly compare homes across segments that don't match? They don't account for price per square foot, renovation levels, land value, or how close they are to certain areas that change everything. And here's the crucial part. Location matters a lot in Charlotte. You can't compare two neighborhoods if one is 5 minutes from a major area and the other is 20 minutes away. They're not the same. Let me give you a simple example. A home that's 5 minutes from South Park is going to command a premium compared to a home that's 20 minutes farther away. And South Park isn't just some random spot on the map. It's North Carolina's largest shopping mall with about 1.8 million square feet. You've got luxury retailers like Louis Vuitton, Tiffany & Co., and Nordstrom. And being close to employment centers, amenities, transit changes daily life, which affects what people are willing to pay. So, understanding these tiers keeps you from wasting time on listings that don't fit your actual goals. Whether you're trying to maximize space or prioritizing finishes, knowing where you fit makes your search way more focused. Now, if we haven't met, I'm Mark Weinberg, and I've been helping families find the perfect home here in the Charlotte region for over 11 years. If you're weighing different price tiers and trying to figure out where you actually fit in this market, I work with buyers of all types, aspects every single day, and I can show you exactly what you should do to land the best deal. My contact information is down below. All right, now let's get back to it. Location and price are only part of the equation because the condition of the home changes the entire competition landscape, and understanding that makes a big difference. Mistake number 3, underestimating the renovation divide. Two homes, same street, same square footage. One sells in 25 days with multiple offers. The other sits for over 75 days and closes $30,000 below asking. The only difference, one's renovated and the other one is in original condition. Renovated homes move faster in most neighborhoods. Original condition homes usually sit longer and they need that price adjustments. But buyers go in assuming everything is competitive, and that's the mistake. Competition depends on condition. So let me give you the actual numbers. Renovated homes in neighborhoods like South End, Plaza Midwood, Dilworth, and Uptown usually sell about 45 to 55 days. That's part of the market is very competitive. Multiple offers are still occurring. Buyer leverage is low. Price negotiation is limited. Now compare that to original condition homes. Those often sit between 40 to 60 plus days. That side of the market is a lot slower. There are fewer competing offers. Buyer leverage is higher, and there's usually more room for negotiations. You see more of that in places like University City, Steel Creek, and other outer neighborhoods. So here's what you need to understand. You're not competing with every buyer in Charlotte. You're competing with the buyers who want the same condition level you want. Looking at renovated home in Plaza Midwood, you're competing with buyers who want move-in ready. Looking at original condition homes in University City, well, you're competing with buyers who are willing to take on some of those projects. Now, here's the key point. Price solves all problems, including renovation conditions. If you don't price a house correctly for today's market, as a seller, it's going to sit. And if you're a buyer, you need to understand whether you're paying for move-in ready or whether you're buying something that needs potential renovations. And renovation cost matters also. So let me tell you, here in Charlotte, that can vary a lot. A semi-custom kitchen renovation runs $125,000 and up. A custom luxury kitchen can hit $200,000 and above. A primary bathroom can start around $60,000 to $70,000 for semi-custom. And the average cost per square foot for a whole house renovation sits between $70 to $150. So when you look at an original condition home, you've got to factor these costs in. The renovation divide affects how fast homes move and how much negotiating power you actually have. But even if you understand the condition, you can still get burned if you're looking at the wrong inventory numbers. Mistake number 4, ignoring inventory composition, not just inventory count. Everyone's talking about inventory being up, but here's what they aren't telling you. That inventory isn't spread across evenly throughout Charlotte. You've probably seen the narrative. Inventory is up. That means buyer leverage everywhere, right? Wrong. In fact, total inventory hit around 11,300 homes available in November 2025. That was up 17.6% year over year. Month supply sits about 3.1 months, which is up about 15%. So yes, inventory is rising, but But here's the crucial detail. Most of the growth is concentrated in the mid $300,000 to $600,000 price point. Single family listings rose about 24% overall, and the strongest growth is happening in price ranges above the low $500,000 price point. Condo and townhome inventory rose 55% overall, led by sharp increases in the low mid to 300,000s, which was up 34%. And there is notable growth in condos and townhomes priced above the 600,000 price point. But established luxury neighborhoods still have tight inventory, and that is why price stability stays strong in those areas. So if you're shopping Myers Park, Eastover, or Dilworth, rising inventory doesn't actually give you the same leverage it gives buyers shopping in the mid $300,000 to $600,000 price points. Buyers who rely on rising inventory story often walk in expecting discounts where none actually exist. A buyer in Myers Park can't use mid $300,000 to $600,000 price inventory growth to negotiate $1.2 million luxury home. But here's the flip side. If you're buying in the mid $300,000 to $600,000 price point, you do have real negotiating power, and it didn't exist like it did in 2023 or 2024. Now, before you even start shopping, you need to be clear on what you need. Are you looking for a single family home or a townhome? How many bedrooms do you truly need? Do you want a backyard or not? What type of commute are you looking for from your home to your work? Or do you work from home and you need an office? What are your hobbies? What do you like doing on the weekends? Are you into mountain biking, walking trails, or golf? How far away do you want to be from these activities that you truly care about? Charlotte has a lot of golf courses, both private and public. Do you want to play tennis or pickleball? Are you looking for access to these type of venues? These questions determine which inventory segment you're really shopping in. You've got to know where you fit, what the inventory looks like in that segment, and whether you're actually having negotiating power or not. And speaking of location, decisions, let's talk about something that affects your daily life more than square footage. Mistake number 5, assuming all parts of Charlotte have the same traffic and commute times. A lot of buyers think Charlotte is one big commuting zone where everything takes about the same amount of time. It doesn't. Certain corridors and intersections can completely change your daily drive based on where you live. According to Texas A&M Transportation Institute 2025 Urban Mobility Report, the average Charlotte car commute loses 64 hours every year stuck in traffic. That's up 11 hours since 2019 when it was only around 53. The U.S. average is around 63 hours, so Charlotte is slightly above the national average. Providence Road, Ray Road, Pineville Matthews Road, Independence Boulevard, and I-77 are some of the worst rush hour choke points in our region. The morning rush run from 7:30 to 9 a.m. Evening rush run is from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. But traffic doesn't just spike during those actual times. It usually starts building about an hour and a half before and sometimes can elevate to an hour and a half after. So you got to be looking at 2 to 3 hours of heavier traffic in the mornings and again in the evening times. I-277, especially exit 4 and 5, see about 132,000 vehicles a day, according to WBT's reports. The roads aren't well designed to handle today's density, dealing with patchwork improvements, projects across different municipalities just isn't there. And here's a specific example that catches people all the time. There's a big difference between living near South Park versus driving through South Park. South Park is the largest luxury indoor mall in Charlotte. It's surrounded by well-established older luxury neighborhoods. The closer you live to South Park, the more expensive the homes get because you're paying for proximity to retail, dining, and employment. But if your daily commute requires driving through South Park, you're dealing with serious congestion penalties. So you've got to think about whether you're close to the amenities you want or whether you're stuck in traffic trying to get through them every single day. Now, here's a simple rule of thumb. Every 5 miles, you can add about 10 minutes to your commute, especially during rush hour. So if you move farther out to save money, you might be adding 15 more minutes in the car. That doesn't sound huge, but if you do it every day, it does add up. Buyers who ignore commute patterns make big lifestyle mistakes. They underestimate daily time loss. They overlook how it affects quality of life. And commute stress hits your health, your family time, and your overall happiness. Now, one thing that can help is light rail for younger professionals who don't own a car or who just don't want to drive, being close to the light rail can make a lot of sense. The Lennox Blue Line has 26 stations across 19.3 miles. It connects I-45, South Boulevard, all the way up to UNC Charlotte, and it runs every 15 minutes during rush hour. So if you're someone who would rather not drive, and proximity to the rail definitely could come into play. Location matters in Charlotte. Your commute affects your daily life just as much as your home square footage. You need to factor it in just as heavily as price. But even if you get the right location at the right price, timing can still make or break the deal. Mistake number 6, not understanding Charlotte's timing pattern. Buyer demand in Charlotte is seasonal, but it also influenced by new construction release cycles and corporate relocation waves. So you can't just follow the generic national calendar and expect it to work here. November 2025 saw just over 2,800 closed sales. That's about 14% down year over year. The new listings are down about 8.4% year over year at just 3,500, but compared to October's, it's down nearly 28%. November was once a strategic window for both buyers and sellers instead of unusual high activity levels we saw in the recent years. The market is settling into a more normal seasonal rhythm, but here's what makes Charlotte different. People sell homes year round. It doesn't just stop. Right now, we're heading into the slower season, but we still do a lot of transactions. December will probably have close to 4,000 transactions. November had about 2,800. October had close to 4,800. January will probably have close to 4,000 also, but then picks up around April to 6,000, and June, July, and August will be over 8,000 transactions. So timing definitely matters. It's slower in December, but there's still a lot happening. And here's what most people miss. The buyers who are looking in October, November, and December are very serious. They're not just casually browsing and saying, you know, if the right place pops up, we're going to pull the trigger. Because with touring homes here in December, there's usually a specific reason for it. So if you're a seller and you've listened to the media saying the only time you sell is spring, you're missing that serious buyer pool. A lot of agents basically go on hibernation and they tell clients to wait because they bought into the same idea, but it's not accurate. If you're a buyer waiting for spring, you're doing the same thing. You're missing winter's serious buyer pool and the negotiating advantages that come with it. Then you hit spring and you're competing with so many other buyers out at the same time because inventory floods the market. That's when you lose your leverage. Now, new construction release cycles matter also. According to the Charlotte Center City Partners Active Projects database, there's about $4 billion in projects in the pipeline as of December 2025. Major projects like Center South, Brooklyn and Church, The Pearl, Queensbridge Collective, Metropolitan Apartment Tower are under construction or in the planning. And when these projects finish, they create new employment corridors and shift the demand patterns. Homes near employment corridors or mixed-use redevelopments can see activity spike without warning. So your timing strategy needs to match Charlotte's actual demand curve because serious buyers with high intent are looking right now. And if you miss that window, you end up competing in a much more crowded spring market. Charlotte's market will either work for you or against you. And the difference comes down to understanding what you're getting into before you start your search. Now, you have the insider knowledge that most buyers don't get until it's too late. If you're planning your move to Charlotte and you want to avoid these costly mistakes before you even start touring homes, shoot me an email, mark@allbrick.com today. I help families win in this market every single week, and my contact information is right here in the description. Now, even if you manage to avoid all these mistakes, there are still financial traps hiding in certain types of homes you should never buy. So make sure to check out the video I've linked here. Never buy these type of homes in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thanks so much. Look forward to catching up with you next time. Bye.